Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about drawing a sphere. Uh, First of all, again, I'm holding my pencil nice and loose in my hand, as far away from the tip as possible so I can get a real light line. And I'm going to leave some room on this side of the paper because this is where I'm going to draw some of my other forms. But right here, I'm going to start drawing a sphere. Now, when I start drawing a circle for my sphere, I call it finding the line. So I'm not trying to get one perfect line right from the start. I'm just going to keep sketching around and around. Now I'm working very lightly, and when I see that I have the right line that I want, I'll go ahead and I'll start to define that line a little more. Don't even worry about erasing these extra lines. They create like this action in your drawing that you don't want to lose. You want that. Now for this one, I'm going to assume that the light is coming in this direction. And you don't want your highlight to always be on the edge of your object. So for this sphere, I'm going to make a little circle, and this is going to be where my highlight is going to be. Okay, now I might have to clean that little circle up a little bit. I know this is pretty light. It'll get darker. So again, just like I did with the grayscale, I'm going to make these little itty bitty circles as I start to shade. And I want to shade lightly at first. Now I'm doing something called following the form. That means I'm shading in the same direction that the form is. All right, you don't want to shade left to right or up and down for something that's circular. You want to actually shade following the contour or the outline of that object. All right, and I'm going to keep shading as I walk around here with my pencil. And I want to you want these to look quality. You want to slowly build your values. I'm always making reference and connections to how I paint. And you want to think of each little layer of pencil is like a layer with paint. And you're going to want to have multiple layers. So I'm going to keep getting closer to my highlight. And as I get closer to my highlight, I'm going to apply less and less pressure and fewer layers. Now at the end, I might have to clean some of the lines up with an eraser, but we'll save that for the end. Now I'm going to start to apply a little more pressure towards the back of my sphere. And in just a second, I am going to put my cast shadow, and I'm going to make note as to where my reflective light is going to be. And I'll put a labeled document on Google Classroom so you guys can see that and see where I have the reflective light. So I'm slowly building up the shadows. You could see on the video, this is still very light. I'm going to get significantly darker, but I'm not going to get darker altogether fast. It's going to be a nice and slow process. So at this point, I'm going to sketch out where I want my cast shadow to be. So based off of where the light hits, I want to think about what shape my cast shadow would be. Now, the best way for you to do this would be to have a sphere or a ball and shine a light on it and see what it would actually look like. That would be the best way for you to get it. But that doesn't always work out. So you don't always have those things. So I think this is how I'm going to make my cast shadow. I want it to be darker, closer to the sphere, and then a cast shadow doesn't have as much varying light as the actual object does because it's on a flat surface, whereas our sphere is round, so the light is traveling around the sphere. So it might just get just slightly darker at the base of the object, but it's pretty much going to be the same level all the way through. All right. Now again, once I have that in, I'm going to want to make sure that I go back and I smooth out my shading, and my shading is done so that you don't see all of the pencil strokes. It's okay to see it in the beginning, but I'm going to want to get rid of a lot of that, right? And there's that little empty space. I'll probably get a little bit darker as I get in there. Sometimes it's good to leave just the littlest bit of white. You could choose to try that. Um, Actually, that if you did that, it would make the sphere look like it's floating, and that would be fine to experiment. So I'm going to come back, and I'm going to continue now to get darker. And this is going to be a little bit of a boring process, so I'm not going to, have the video going this whole time. What I'm going to do rather is I'm going to post the picture of the finished product into Google Classroom. But you could see how I want you to start. You could see exactly how I'm doing this. It looks pretty round. It's nice and even. And I'll make another video when I do some of the other forms coming up, okay? All right, guys, have a great day.